how explosive personal growth completely transformed my life. It's funny how you think you're in control of your life, cruising along in the driver's seat, until one day the road shifts beneath you. You're driving, everything seems fine, but suddenly, without warning, the tires burst. That's what it felt like when my life exploded in a way I never saw coming. I remember sitting in a dimly lit room, feeling completely suffocated by the weight of my own thoughts. Nothing was working. No job, no relationship, no sense of direction. And then, just when I thought I couldn't go any lower, something strange happened. I wasn't pushed into the deep end. Instead, I felt like I was standing still, watching the world move around me like I was the only one frozen in time. But in that stillness, something shifted. I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't even know where to start. But I knew I couldn't stay where I was. The turning point didn't come with a sudden burst of clarity. It was more like stepping into a new world where everything felt like it was meant to be, even though I had no idea how I'd arrived there. The most shocking part? The explosion wasn't a crash. It was an awakening. An awakening that revealed truths about myself and the world that I never even considered before. It felt like I had just unlocked a cheat code in the game of life. What happened next? Well, that's where the real story begins, because this journey took me to places I never thought I could reach. But it wasn't easy. It's not about what you gain, it's about who you become in the process. Ever wonder what it's like to walk into a room and feel like you own it, or to feel unstoppable, like nothing could ever break you? Keep watching. This is the story of how explosive personal growth completely transformed my life. But here's the real question. What if everything you thought you knew about growth was wrong? I remember the moment I realized something had to change. It was one of those quiet days when everything feels like it's on pause. You know that feeling? Like time is still moving, but you've been left behind somewhere? I felt like I was holding my breath, waiting for something, anything, to shake me out of my daze. It wasn't that I hadn't tried before. I'd spent years listening to the podcasts, reading the self-help books, and trying every growth hack the internet could throw at me. I even kept a journal filled with intentions and goals, telling myself every day that tomorrow was going to be the day it all clicked. But tomorrow never came. The weight of expectations, my own and the ones from the world around me, was crushing. And the louder I tried to make my voice heard, the more I felt drowned out. That's when I hit the wall. One night, sitting there, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. What had I been doing all this time? Trying to build something that didn't even exist, fighting for a future that seemed so far away. What if it wasn't about building at all? What if it was about letting go? I wasn't searching for a quick fix anymore. I wasn't looking for the next hack or magic solution. I was looking for freedom. But freedom wasn't going to be handed to me. No one could give it to me. Not my mentors, not my family, not the books on my shelf. It had to come from within. So I took a step into the unknown. I stopped searching for answers from the outside world and began looking inward. It wasn't an easy decision. In fact, it was terrifying. You see, once you let go of everything you thought you knew about growth, there's nothing left to hold on to. You're standing at the edge, with nothing but your own willpower to carry you forward. It wasn't until I completely embraced uncertainty that everything started to shift. For the first time, I stopped trying to control the outcome. I stopped measuring my success by other people's standards, by how many goals I ticked off or how fast I climbed up the ladder. The more I detached from the need to arrive somewhere, the more I felt like I was finally living. But the real transformation didn't happen in a single moment. It happened over time, piece by piece. In the quiet mornings when I finally allowed myself to be still. In the conversations where I stopped pretending to be someone I wasn't. In the moments when I stopped resisting the flow of life and let myself be carried by it. It felt like a door was opening, but it was one I had to walk through on my own. Every step I took, I could feel something shifting. My confidence grew, not from any external validation, but from a deep-seated understanding that I was enough, just as I was. That was the first time I truly felt alive. And that was when the real journey began. People around me started to notice. They didn't know what was happening. How could they? They just saw someone who was more present, more grounded. Someone who seemed to walk with a quiet confidence, not because they had it all figured out, but because they were okay with not having it all figured out. The changes were subtle at first. I didn't rush. I didn't force anything. I just allowed my new perspective to shape my actions. And as I did, the world around me began to shift. Relationships became easier. I felt less anxious, more connected. Every area of my life began to transform, but not in the ways I expected. I thought personal growth was about climbing to the top, pushing harder, achieving more. But what I learned was this. Personal growth isn't about pushing or striving. It's about peeling away the layers that were never truly yours to begin with. It's about learning how to stand still and let life unfold without forcing it to happen. And that's where the explosive part comes in. Growth wasn't about adding more to my life. It was about removing the things that didn't serve me, the things I'd been clinging to out of fear. And once I let go, that's when everything clicked. That's when I realized the truth. Personal growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being more. At the heart of it all, I began to understand something deeply profound. When you stop chasing growth, it chases you. I've told you about the transformation I went through, but here's the most important part. Growth isn't a destination. It's a way of being. It's not something you can measure with numbers or accomplishments. It's a state of mind, a way of interacting with the world that says, I don't need to prove anything to anyone, not even myself. That realization alone has shaped my life in ways I never imagined. Because now I know the truth. The most powerful growth comes from the moments you let go, not the ones you chase. So ask yourself this. What are you holding on to that's stopping you from experiencing the growth you've been chasing for so long? What if everything you thought you knew about success, about growth, about life itself, was all backwards? If you've made it this far, I want to hear your thoughts. What's the one thing you've been holding on to that's keeping you from stepping into your own transformation? Leave a comment below with your symbolic phrase from this journey, and share this video with someone you think needs to hear this message. The truth might be just one step away for them. And if you want to hear more about how this journey unfolded and how you can begin your own transformation, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next story. Because trust me, this is just the beginning.